can you see this?
Yeah.
Can you all see this? Okay. So essentially today I'm going to introduce our background, what we do, and a little bit of Kingston University, and then in the last half an hour, I managed to add three slides that essentially preempts the conversation we're going to have tomorrow. So this talk is delivered by me, but I believe available online is also our researcher, Yu Zhuan, who is going to join us, COVID permitting, in August, September. So he's going to be with us and he's going to help me with a project. So just a very quick one on Kingston University. So it's situated in the south of London. We have a large number of students. We have 4 different campuses scattered just around Kingston upon Thames, 4 faculty, and almost 2,000 members of staff. And these are the sites at Kingston University. We actually at the top left one, so Penryn Road. I hope you're going to join us soon because we have a brand new building here, which is the landmark basically of Kingston, at Kingston University. So we are next to Hampton Court Park, so across the River Thames. And just very quickly about me. So I am an electronic engineer, graduated from the University of Genoa ages ago. I'm not going to tell you when. Turned into a computer scientist. So I did my PhD at the University of Surrey. Then I worked at INRIA, University of Reading, and then I did a number of sabbaticals in Japan and in INRIA in France. Roughly 10 years ago, I founded the RoboVision, what I call the RoboVision team, which at the beginning was a multidisciplinary research team turned into a video, image and video analytics expert team, specializing essentially in artificial intelligence, machine learning, pattern recognition techniques. The idea is basically, and our goal is basically always to develop distributed intelligent algorithms for the automatic understanding of big data, so large corporal data, usually accrued by an array of distributed sensors. In natural intelligence, we will not have a distributed array of sensors. It will be packed on the robot, but the concepts are very, very similar. So this is the expertise which I just mentioned. The additional thing is that we played also with other sensors, not only with cameras. We also play with cameras in the visual spectrum, in the infrared spectrum. And our applications are very, very different from yours or those I've just heard talking about. So we come basically from the physical security community. So what usually goes under the name of video surveillance or visual surveillance, as I call it in Europe. We also worked on assistive technologies. So we worked on ambient-assisted living. And personally speaking, I'm an associate researcher, visiting researcher at the Royal Botanic Gardens at Kew, and I developed some methods of plant identification, which I call computational botany. So essentially applying artificial intelligence methods and deep learning, machine learning to the recognition and identification of natural objects or plants. We've been financially supported by UK, EU, and US funding bodies. As I said before, very different from your application domains. Our aim has always been the development of intelligent algorithms, making devices, especially cameras and sensors, smart for the automatic interpretation and real-time interpretation of complex scenes. These are just examples of projects. I've got at the moment a project funded by the National Aerospace Technology Exploitation Program on robot arm technologies to develop a robot arm that has a video basically at the end effector in order to be able to perform some precision tasks. I've worked and I've been funded for smart farming, which is somehow related to natural intelligence. That was under the 5G rural integrated program funded by Innovate UK. And we also had a project some time ago, 3 years ago, on embedded deep learning. And this is going to be very interesting for natural intelligence because we will have to embed deep learning, machine learning techniques on the processors that are going to be sitting on the robot. So you guys are going to tell me tomorrow more about that. And we'll have to have a long discussion about that. Talking about the work I did with Royal Botanic Gardens, so it's funded by the Living Human Trust, which is, and the EPSSC, which are two UK funded bodies. And in terms of other research that I've done on deep learning, very, very similar to the identification of plants, is the detection of oral cancer. Very, very similar techniques. So we will be able to port some of the knowledge and expertise that we developed during the last 5 years or so. EU-funded projects. We had a couple of NATO projects on physical security. We worked also on in H2020 on a project called Monica, where we developed physical security solutions. Again, for Monica, we used deep learning, so we have plenty of expertise on that. Earlier on FP7, we worked again on multi-sensor fusion. And as I said at the beginning, we worked on assisted living. So I had a couple of European projects on that. And we were also funded by the Department of Homeland Security in the US in a collaboration with the University of Nevada, Reno. That's, I would say, 10 years ago, so it's a decade ago. Over the years, I had a number of researchers. Effectively, we are starting out the 4th generation of researchers. Those are grouped at the top. The different groupings indicate the different generations of researchers that I had, and they helped me with the success of Rovit, our research group. At bottom left are collaborators, all collaborators and current collaborators. Bottom right are my strong links, strong ties with Japan, and where I spent a couple of sabbaticals, and Southeast Asia, with which I have a very strong tie, especially in the Institute of Infocom Research and Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur. I want to have just a single slide on Hajar Sadeghi Soke, who left us in July 2020. Unfortunately, she passed away too young. These are some pictures of her in the lab and plenaries of Monica and during our meetings when she was still smiling. As I mentioned at the beginning, working directly on the project would be Hui Xuan, that has a degree is a very young researcher, degree in control engineering and automation from the Hanoi University of Science and Technologies in Vietnam. He has expertise in computer vision and machine learning, and he has previous experience in projects with the the Multimedia Information Communication Application Center at the same university. He also worked for, he did a stint with Samsung Display in Vietnam, and he also worked with the Institute of Gastrointestinal and Hepatology in Hanoi. And all these techniques developed for cancer research can be applied for plant identification, as you probably understand as soon as we start working on real data. These are the slides that I added because I wasn't expecting to be a technical talk today. So we are going to, as Kingston University at Rove, we're going to develop video analytics or video analysis or image and video analysis in the wild. So this is the term that we use in computer vision or machine vision. So we moved in the last, since deep learning started, basically, I would say terraforming the computer vision research field, and basically destroying all the successes of the previous classic computer vision. Computer vision and machine vision used to use precompiled models, so things like I don't know, recognizing an object, recognizing a car, vehicle, which is something we did a long time ago, or recognizing a person in a shopping mall, being able to track the person. So there were basically precompiled models to be able to do that. Nowadays, this is no longer done, and also you don't publish anymore if you don't use deep learning. In deep learning, basically you use real data to be able to acquire information and knowledge about a scene, images, an object, people, and their dynamics. Okay, deep learning works because basically it's more robust. It works continuously, so it can work real time, and it works with a number of environmental conditions. So, for instance, changes in illumination, weather conditions, and so on and so forth. There are still many, many problems with deep learning, especially I can mention just one, which is the crucial one that people usually compare the results on a very limited number of data sets. I've already discussed with Claudia and Sienna some details on the data collection. The biggest problem is that comparing your methods in deep learning or machine learning, machine vision on a limited number of data sets means that you have a limited testing. And this is what we're going to change, basically, the natural intelligence. We're going to move towards the wild, and we're going to use new data sets and hopefully many data sets. So we're going to use the machine learning way, as I call it here, that provides a solution that hopefully is going to overcome some of the problems. It doesn't rely on precompiled models. Models can be trained with different environmental conditions. Incidentally, we're going to use deep learning not only with images and videos, but we're going to use all the other sensors. So we're going to try to do something that in computer vision is done, for instance, together with audio. Okay, so here we're going to use many other sensor, a lot of other sensor information. So, for instance, temperature, illumination, humidity, GPS information as well, so that I can geolocate our findings and being able to tag them correctly. The only thing is that I preempt, this is something I have to say now, and I'll probably have to repeat tomorrow. We will have to use the labeling of data, because deep learning relies on metadata, which is associated. Essentially, it's got some kind of partial supervision of the data, which is used to train all the models. So we will have to ask all the plant scientists or botanists to help us labeling all the data. The other thing we're going to try to do is apart from helping with the selection of additional sensors, I noticed that some of them are already in place. We might need other sensors, so for instance, better camera sensors. We will also try to use the so-called generative methods. So methods that allow the creation, extrapolation, interpolation of data to create some new data that is realistic. And that, again, will entail a very tight and strong collaboration, a frequent collaboration with a plant scientist. So more tomorrow. I'll try to add a little bit more tomorrow on the technical aspects. I think I finished.